India sees itself as the weakest of the major powers and the strongest of the middle powers. It's not yet a superpower, but it's projected to be a major player on the international stage and to have a significant weight in world affairs in the coming years. India is the world's largest democracy and has a population of over 1.4 billion people, making it the second most populous country in the world. It's the fastest growing major economy with a GDP of over $3 trillion, making it the sixth in the world. And its GDP is projected to be close to $20 trillion by 2047, and the per capita income may reach 10,000 US dollars. India has a diverse and dynamic economy with strengths in a range of sectors including technology, manufacturing, agriculture, and service industries. It has the third largest startup ecosystem, and their tech and digital manufacturing sectors on track to become global superpowers. India also is a member of the BRICS group of emerging economies and a member of the G20, which is a group of the world's 20 largest economies. In terms of foreign policy, India has a non-aligned stand and maintains strong relationships with countries around the world. It has close ties with countries in the developing world and it's a major provider of development assistance to other countries. It also has strong economic and strategic partnerships with major powers such as the United States and Russia. Overall, India is an important player in global affairs, and its role is expected to continue to grow in the coming years. India has traditionally had good relations with the countries in the Middle East. The region is home to a large number of expatriate Indians, and India is a major importer of oil and gas from the Middle East. In recent years, India looked for expanding its economic and political ties with the countries in the region and has also played a role in mediating conflicts in the region. However, there have also been tensions at times, particularly over issues related to the conflicts in the region. So India's relations with the Middle East are complex and are shaped by a variety of political, economic, and cultural factors. India has a long and complex history of interaction with Arab, Persian, and Turkish cultures, and I'm not excluding here other ethnicities or minorities living in the region, but these three in particular being on the top of empires that ruled the Middle East for a long time. So during ancient times, trade and cultural exchange between India and these regions was common, and there were also instances of military conflict. One of the earliest recorded interactions between India and the Arab world was the arrival of the Umayyad rule in the 7th century. The Umayyads conquered parts of the modern-day Pakistan and established strong cultural and economic relations with the Middle East and India in the coming centuries. In the medieval period, there were several major dynasties in India that had close connection with the Arab, Iranian, and Turkish cultures. For example, the Ghurid dynasty, which ruled parts of India in the 12th and 13th centuries, was of Turkic-Afghan origins. The Delhi Sultanate, which ruled much of India from the 13th to 16th century, was also largely of Turkic and Afghan origin and had significant cultural and economic ties with the Arab world. During this time, there was also a significant influx of Arab and Persian merchants, scholars, and Sufi mystics into India. These immigrants contributed to the spread of Islam in India and had a profound influence on Indian culture, particularly in the fields of language, literature, art, and architecture. In the Mughal period, which began in the 16th century, the Mughal emperors of India were of Mongol origin and practiced a syncretic form of Islam that incorporated elements of both Arab and Persian culture. The Mughals also maintained close diplomatic and trade relations with the Ottoman Empire, and there was significant exchanges of people, ideas, and goods between the two empires. After the fall of the Mughal Empire in the 19th century, India's relations with the Middle East were largely shaped by the country's status as the British colony. The British had significant economic and political interests in the region, and India served as an important source of troops and administrative personnel for the British Empire's operation in the Middle East. During this time, India also continued to have cultural and economic ties with the Middle East, particularly through the activities of Indian traders, merchants, and laborers who migrated to the region. There was also a significant flow of Middle Eastern goods into India. After India gained independence from the British in 1947, the country continued to maintain strong economic and cultural ties with the Middle East. India has a large expatriate population in the region, and the Middle East is an important source of energy and other resources for India. Countries like Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Qatar, and Iraq has the largest reserve of oil and gas that are easy to extract. Therefore, India's strategy in the Middle East has been one of broad-based engagement, focused on economic, political, and cultural ties. India wants to strengthen its relations with countries in the region through a variety of means, including trade, investment, development assistance, and cultural exchange. One key aspect of India's strategy in the Middle East has been its efforts to secure access to energy and other resources, as the region is a major supplier of oil to India. India also wanted to promote economic development and modernization, particularly through infrastructure projects and other forms of development assistance. In terms of political and security cooperation, India has sought to build strong relationships with the countries in the region and has participated in joint military exercises and other forms of cooperation in the defense industry. India also supported efforts to promote regional stability and security in the Gulf region. So India's strategy in the Middle East has been focused on building strong relationships with the countries in the region and promoting cooperation on a range of issues. Turkey is a country with significant geopolitical importance to India, especially in the Middle East and the broader region. There are a few aspects of Turkey's geopolitical importance for India. Firstly, location. Turkey is strategically located at the crossroads of Europe, Asia, and the Middle East, and it has a long history of playing a central role in regional politics and security. Its location makes it an important transit point for trade and energy flows, and it's also a major gateway to the Middle East and Central Asia. Secondly, regional influence. Turkey is a major regional power and has significant influence in the Middle East. It has a large and modern military, and it's a member of NATO. Its political and security partnership with other countries in the region are important for regional stability and security. And finally, energy security. Turkey is an important transit point for energy flows, particularly oil and natural gas, and it's a key player in regional energy politics. Its strategic location and energy infrastructure make it an important partner for countries, including India, that are seeking to secure reliable access to energy resources. Reports said that Tehran has offered New Delhi a strategic cooperation pact similar to the deal it signed with China in 2021. Iran tries to attract Indian investment to develop its transport and energy infrastructures. Details of the proposed India-Iran pact are not yet clear. However, the matter is being considered by the Indian Ministry of External Affairs. A new pact with oil-rich Iran will help India, the world's third largest oil consumer, to deal with high energy prices. The Iranian government has been pursuing ties with China and Russia, and now with India, as the Iranian economy has been experiencing a sharp fall in the past years and foreign investment has also decreased. But for India, Iran is a country with high geopolitical importance, and the country is strategically located at the crossroads of Central Asia, the Middle East, and South Asia, and it has a long history of playing a central role in regional politics and security. Its location makes it an important transit point for trade and energy flows, and it's also a major gateway to Central Asia and the Caucasus. For energy security, Iran is a major oil and natural gas producer, and it's an important supplier of energy resources to India. India has wanted to secure reliable access to Iranian energy resources in order to meet its growing energy needs. For the regional influence, Iran is a major regional power and has significant influence in the Middle East and the broader region. It has a large military and it's a key player in regional politics and security in the region. India has sought to maintain a positive and cooperative relationship with Iran. The two countries have a long history of trade and cultural exchanges. So despite these challenges, India kept a positive and cooperative relationships with Iran and had pursued a number of strategies to strengthen ties between the two countries. India and Israel have a long and complex history, marked by both cooperation and sometimes tension. In 1948, Israel was established as a state, and India recognized it as an independent nation. In the 50s and 60s, India and Israel developed strong economic ties, with India importing Israeli agricultural technology and other goods. But after that, in the 60s and the 70s, India's foreign policy became more pro-Palestinian, and it began to distance itself from Israel. In 1992, India and Israel established diplomatic relations again after India's foreign policy became more pragmatic and seeking to diversify its international partnerships. In the 90s and early 2000s, India and Israel developed strong defense ties, including through joint military exercises and defense technology cooperation. And during the last decade, India and Israel deepened their economic and cultural ties, including through increased trade and investment and cultural exchange programs. And for India, Israel is a country with remarkable geopolitical importance, particularly in security cooperation. Israel is a major military power and has a highly developed defense industry, and the two countries have strong relations in terms of security cooperation, including through joint military exercises and defense technology cooperation. Israel is a world leader in technology and innovation, and it's a major partner for India in these areas. India has sought to cooperate with Israel on research and development, particularly in the areas of defense, agriculture, and water management. For trade and economic ties, Israel is an important market for Indian goods and services. The two countries wanted to strengthen economic ties through trade and investment, and Israel is also a significant source of investment for India. China has been increasing its economic and political influence in the Middle East in recent years. This has included investing in infrastructure projects, increasing trade, and strengthening diplomatic ties with countries in the region. One example of China's growing influence is the Belt and Road Initiative, a large-scale infrastructure project that aims to connect Asia, Europe, and Africa through a network of roads, railways, and ports. The initiative has also significant investment in the Middle East and South Asia, including in countries such as Pakistan, Egypt, and Iran. China has also increased its military presence in the Middle East, establishing its first overseas military base in Djibouti in 2017 and participating in peacekeeping and anti-piracy operations in the region. There are several reasons why China has been increasing its economic and political engagement in the Middle East. One reason is access to natural resources. The Middle East is home to the world's largest reserve of oil and natural gas, and China is the world's largest energy consumer. By strengthening its ties with the countries in the region, China is able to secure access to these resources and ensure the stability of its own energy supply. Another reason is economic opportunity. The Belt and Road Initiative, which I mentioned earlier, is a key part of China's strategy to expand its economic influence globally. The Middle East is an important region for this initiative, and China has invested in a number of infrastructure projects there, including ports, railways, and roads. Geopolitically, China's growing presence in the Middle East also gives it a larger role in regional affairs and allows it to shape the direction of the region's development. This is particularly important as the region has been marked by conflicts and instability in recent years. By increasing its influence in the Middle East, China is able to play a larger role to address these challenges and promote regional stability. But for India, China is a rival. Both countries are the most populous in the world, and they have a long and complex history of relations. In recent years, there have been a great deal of attention on the rivalry between the two countries, which has manifested in a number of ways. One of the main areas of rivalry between India and China is economic. Both countries are emerging economies and are competing for resources in markets around the world. This has led to tensions over trade and investment, as well as concern about China's growing economic influence in the region. There are also long-standing territorial disputes between India and China, particularly over the border region of Arunachal Pradesh in northeastern India, which China claims as part of Tibet. These disputes have occasionally led to military tensions, and there have been a number of border skirmishes between the two countries in the past. In recent years, the rivalry between India and China has also extended to international organizations and forums, as both countries seek to increase their influence and assert their positions on global issues. And that's why India is gathering resources to invest and compete with China to gain more influence in the Middle East. India is not only making plans for this region, but it has a regional strategy to protect its interests and to play a bigger role in the future. You've been watching The Atlantic State. Please share with us your opinion in the comments, and thank you for watching.